Right. Maybe this is live. Don't know. A whole bunch of random things going on here to see if this is gonna work. I don't have any way of putting the camera up on the dashboard. So yeah, not really sure. Might not be. Certainly not the most interesting video feed for a Facebook Live. Reminds me of a friend of mine. We have a business meeting every Monday night, and for a business sort of venture that I'm involved in. And we connect from all over the world, and so the time zones are different, obviously, for everyone. And one guy is actually in England, but the host is in Canada. And one guy is in England. Quite often he's in his car coming back from work or something, and get a dark picture of his right hand shoulder, and that's what we get for the meeting with him. For me, I tended to be chilled out, lying down on the bed during the meetings. It's like 7:30 or 8:30, depending on whether it's British summertime or whatever. And it was always the best, most chilled place to be at the end of the day, to have a meeting. Is just chill out on the bed and just have the meeting there. But of course, you get seen by everyone for the entire sort of hour and a half, hour long meeting. You get seen by everyone in that position, and you get known for that. So yeah, anyway, I'm trying to look and see if this is even recording or anything, but share to group. Oh, I guess it is. I'm doing it on the iPad. I don't really use my iPad. I didn't even know if I had Facebook on it. I don't really use the iPad for that. So my phone's providing navigation and music, and it's providing a hotspot for the iPad. And the iPad has got Facebook rolling, and I'm doing a Facebook Live, and the video feed is of the inside of my car, looking a little bit at the Cornish sky. In the UK, it's whatever it is, 3 minutes past 11, Saturday morning, and I'm on my way down to Truro, or as near as damn it, not to see Wildstone play, especially since they won't be playing at Truro next season. But just to go and get just a little bit of work done on my car.
In 1 mile at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto A38.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Anyway, yeah, just nothing really spectacular. Not fitting a supercharger or anything, not yet. Anyway, just that's it really. Just on my way down. It's quite funny because the few times that I'd driven down to Cornwall before sort of being based down here or being down here a lot or whatever in Devon, this part of the journey that I'm on now is always the bit where it got snarled up with traffic, and of course it's that time of year, and it's just so funny to be purely doing this stretch of the journey for mundane, well, not mundane because I like my car, and the guy that I'm going to see who's going to do some work on it is a cool guy too. So for me it's not mundane, but I mean like just a general life thing. I'm not going down to the beach from London or anything like that. I'm just, I say nipping down to Truro, where it's still over an hour journey, but it's quite funny sitting in traffic thinking, you know, bloody tourists.
At the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto A38.
Anyway, so yeah, don't really know why I'm doing a Facebook Live. Don't even know if it is doing it. but I'll find out afterwards, won't I? I think what it is really is that you know, I've got the music in here.
In 9.1 miles at the roundabout, take the third exit onto A38 toward Bodmin.
All kinds of communication devices, and that's great, and all the rest of it. But realizing that it'd be better to communicate to a person or to people. It's not that I've only just realised that in my life, but you know, sometimes you think, yeah, I listen to music. Oh, it's a nice view. Yeah, I'm driving my car, kind of like that. But thinking like, what can I do to sort of add a little bit of action or interaction or whatever to the journey? So I chose this. And of course, it's not a Big Brother style broadcast, so you can always switch off. But anyway, that was it. So I thought I'd just say hello to everybody, and prove that I'm not a keyboard or a text. I'm actually a real life human. Most of my friends on Facebook have actually met me in the flesh, so they wouldn't need that verifying. But anyway, you never know. I might be, might have gone and somebody might have shape-shifted into me. Yeah, if they had the ability to do that, they'd probably be able to say all kinds of things that only you and I would know as well. So who knows? Maybe I'm the only one who doesn't realise that's actually happened. If that makes sense. Anyway, whatever. It's funny that a part of me thinks that I have to say right now, you know, I'm just messing around. Well, yeah, I'm just messing around. But I don't think I would ever have felt the need to say that until the last recent times. But anyway, so yes, for the record, I'm clowning around. Yeah, just checking to see if the Facebook feed can see my speedo. Yeah, because that's not the rev counter. Not really sure what to say. Oh, Kart World's down here. I haven't been go-karting for a long time. That would be good fun to do. Wondering what everyone else is doing. I was at the beach yesterday. The mist came in. Kind of got rained on. Well, we'd packed up by the time it rained. I didn't really mind. Didn't have a 5-hour journey. And for me personally, it was quite atmospheric having the mist come in, and there's an island out to sea that sort of disappeared in the mist. And what was really cool about it actually as well is that it was a year 6 reunion for Jasmine and those who'd left her school and hadn't had a really good chance to say goodbye. And it's quite funny seeing 6 girls sitting on a paddleboard trying to stop it from tipping over. Anyway, so we had fun for the time that we were there, and in traditional style, we were one of the last to leave. So don't really know what else to say. I've got another 40 minutes approximately of this journey, and probably not going to do the whole thing live, especially as you can't really see what I'm seeing, which at the moment is just a dual carriageway anyway. Yeah, So there's someone watching or was watching. I can't quite see who it is or was. But anybody who's on this feed or sees this feed, why not tell me? Why not little text in there what you're up to, what you're doing right now. So funny to see. It's I don't even know. Is it today or tomorrow? The FA Cup final. I only saw it by accident because I was checking to see if there were any results of interest on the Sky Sports app. Yeah. So FA Cup, a very, very interesting Championship playoff final as well. It's a real shame that Wembley's not going to be full for that. That has really got to be the biggest game between those two sides, Brentford and Fulham, in their history, surely. And a real shame that there's not going to be whatever it is, 80 or 90,000 people there to see it. And then there's always the old thing of like, well, if it was a camera van up on the bridge. For anyone on the A38 heading down to Truro, camera van up on some bridge or another. Can't really tell you. About 2.5 miles before the turn off to Bodmin. Anyway, yeah, would they have met each other in the final had there been fans to influence it? Because yes, you can water your pitch the way you want to water your pitch, and yes, the dimensions are not so much these days, but certainly back in the day are different. But why is it that most teams have a better home record than away? You know, it's the travel, it's this, it's that. If it's not influenced by the fans,
in 2 miles at the roundabout, take the third exit onto A38 toward Bodmin.
If it's not influenced by the fans, why are they there? Just to sit and passively witness what's going on? Anyone there at that famous night in Istanbul may not have been aware of the influence they were having until later on in the game, but I'm sure they made a difference. So anyway, but it doesn't matter, because I think I have a brother who's a QPR fan. He's not going to like hearing this, but I do like Fulham. I think I sound like a girl when I say this, but I think it's a cute club. It's sweet. I love the ground, and I just think they're sort of a boutique club. I like the neck of the woods. I lived nearby for a few years, and they've got that Victorian Industrial Revolution kind of feel that I like to. That's disappearing out of the game. You know, they're all going on to brownfield business parks now. Some nice stadiums, but you know, when they're squeezed into a community like that, I really love that. When it's an awkward place to get to and all the rest of it, and you know, you turn a corner in a bunch of houses, and you know, like anyone who went to Highbury and saw where you came out from the station, it's just ridiculous. Barnet was another one. It's just dropped in a, you know, for friends of mine who live in Cullington Close, if you can imagine knocking down 2 or 3 houses and making the entrance to a football club there. It's kind of, I like that. Anyway, Brentford's the same, really, even more so probably at the moment till they move. And I don't know if they've ever been in the top 5. I think they might have had a few seasons in there. Certainly haven't been in the Premier League. So either way, it would be quite interesting to see.
At the roundabout, take the third exit onto A38 toward Bodmin.
How that goes for them. But even though, like I say, I kind of like Fulham, and I'm a bit of a Keegan fan as well. I liked when he was at the club. For it was fun times there. But I have to say, I really like it when there's a team that haven't been in the Premier League before, a team that, you know, a small club or something, and it's just really nice to see that happen.
In 8 miles at the roundabout, take the second exit onto A38.
We've lost Bournemouth, so we've lost Watford as well, which is more of a shame, but anyway. But it would be nice to see. I'd like to see Brentford in there because I just think it would be great. I even wonder. I know there's been some ground improvements, but I even wonder if they might have to do a little bit to make sure their ground's up to it or whatever. But I just think it's great. Grounds like that and having people squeezed into it. It's a pity, back in the day at Plough Lane with Wimbledon, they would have been in Europe were it not for the ban. And I just think that would have been absolutely fantastic. Maybe it wouldn't have been. I can't remember who won Serie A that year, so whether or not AC Milan could have ended up going down to Plough Lane, but I think they should, so get down there and figure that one out, sort that out, like the old Den, Cold Blow Lane, Millwall. I love that. It's got nothing to do with violence. It's just about, in that cauldron sort of atmosphere. And I was thinking about Northwood. What the hell would they do if they got a big, what would be the biggest game they could host? And it, trying to get into there on match day is ridiculous. With just a few hundred, but if there was a few thousand somehow going in there, that would be great. So I love that sort of stuff, and I think we love the underdog, don't we, in England? Anyway, that was about it. I don't really know what else to say. I hope you're all having a great day. And that you're all well and finding ways to keep yourself winning in the world and interested in life and all the rest of it. And drop me a line if you want to say hi. And at some point, the journey now is getting quite interesting. Actually, you can see the trees anyway. Journey now is getting quite interesting. At some point I'm going to have to lean over and
in 260 yards turn left. In 6.1 miles at the roundabout, take the second exit onto A38.
At some point I'm going to have to stop the feed and I'll choose a safe moment, was literally what I was going to say. Not just because that's the right thing to do, but also because this is recording. If I take both my hands off the wheel and get out of my seat and walk over to the camera, even if I get away with it with my life, I will have shared two men and a dog and documented an irresponsible act, which of course I would never want to do or say or think anything irresponsible. One little thing I'm going to share, actually, something that's been on my head. Businesses have organisational charts, right? We all know that. Who's the boss? Who's the guy just below him? Why does he have the same last name? Etc., etc. So, you have the vice president of this, you have the head of that, you have the senior whatever, and any decent organisational chart will flow left to right as well. So usually you have the source of the business on the left, and it moves way down almost like a production line, and the public facing side of it there on the right, the actual product that it's producing or witnessing or whatever is there in the middle. The point is, you can have one of those charts for anything, any project, any organisation, a relationship, a marriage. We all know in a marriage who's at the head of the table, and then there's just above the head of the table is the boss. But whether it's a relationship, like I say, or a football club, a business, a religion, a church, whatever it is, there's organisational charts, and if you have one that works well, you'd do well to adopt it in any situation. I mean, if you've got a project that's only going to last an hour, it might be a bit of a waste of time to spend time drawing one out or whatever. You'd still sort of need to organise, right, you know, you get the Hoover out, I'll pick up all the rubbish, little Jimmy can take it down to the bins, whatever, and then you just crack on for your hour or whatever, and then you get to go to the beach or whatever. But that also means that you can have, and you should have, and you do have, whether you've written it out or not, you have one for yourself. And the interesting thing about the one you have for yourself is that although if you talk a bunch of shit, you can lose your job, and all that sort of thing, and if you know, don't keep yourself in good shape one way or the other, you can lose whatever, relationship, friends, self-respect, whatever. The point is, on your own personal organisational chart, if you wrote one up, you would discover that you were at the head of it, and actually that no one else was on it. Simple as that. You're the only person on that organisational chart. You might use someone to speak up for you. You could say, well, they sort of handle my PR or whatever. But really and truthfully, they'll probably only do it if you handle your PR with them. So in other words, if they think you're a whatever, it might take a couple of quid for a little while, but they're not really going to be doing that job. So really and truthfully, you as an individual are your own boss. And people can have opinions, and you can lose friends and gain friends over opinions. And those things are all valid, but you don't have a handler. I sort of was thinking that if you're not of sound mind, if you're certified as not of sound mind, you sometimes get given a handler. But I'm pretty sure there's some duty of care sort of things, and there's some humane treatment that still needs to go. There's still a line that you don't cross. Some guy is a complete, let's say he's mentally and physically, you know, debilitatingly disabled, and there's a bunch of carers working for that person, but I'm sure there are still accepted, or maybe even in law, well, certainly in law, you don't have the right to execute the individual. So in most countries, so you're sort of a proxy for the bits that are missing in that being's makeup, but you're not him or her. So, but certainly if you're of reasonably sound mind, you might have an apparency of having a handler. That handler might like to stay a little bit hidden, you know, to effect better manipulation or whatever. But basically, you as an individual, you don't have a boss. You might have your own conscience, and there's some good advice that people can give you and all the rest of it. But you're the only one on your organisational chart. You don't actually have, you know, you are the source of you. If you're a religious person, you may say, yeah, well, I come from God, or I answer only to God, or I do this, that, the other. Right, fine, but who answers only to God? Well, I do. You. Right. Right. You could answer to the devil as well if you wanted to. I'm not saying that would be okay, but what I'm saying is that once again, that would be you at the head of your own organisation. And of course, as soon as you step outside your front door, you realise there's a whole bunch of other things connected with life than just yourself, unless you're not very well off, but mentally. But anyway, that was, you know, that was just an interesting thing. Yeah. everyone's entitled to their opinion, but no, there's only one person who is me, and of course there's only one person who is you. Unless of course you have a different opinion. But from my observation, when you're a kid, you answer up to your parents. They cover certain areas, certain blind spots that you may have.
In 1 mile at the roundabout, take the second exit onto A38.
Except, or whatever, somewhere along the line. I think John Mapping calls it your own personal sovereignty or something, and I can kind of see that now. Yeah, so if I drew out my organisational chart, I'd find that I was the only person on it. You're welcome to join me, but then that becomes friendship. You don't become me. There we go. That was just my own little opinion. And stuck behind a bunch of traffic now. There's a good moment to switch off. Oh, Sandra was watching. Hi. How interesting. Someone else as well, can't actually see. I'll wave to them. And there you go. That was that. Okay. I'm going to get back to driving. Love you all. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye. Somehow. Finish.